Hello, and welcome to another OK video on YouTube. Today I'm finishing up a winning sketch from the Patreon sketch request contest. You can see up in the corner. This is my Patreon page, the home page, where you can go to get in on this contest and future contests. This particular sketch came from Wendy Wonka and the Chocolate Fetish Factory 5. Someone requested a scene using this feeding chair that doesn't exactly happen according to how the comic goes, but anything is game in the sketch request contest on Patreon. We have a lot of fun. It's very interactive, and you get to see a lot of sketches coming out. We've done 6 contests in 2019, and going into 2020, I wanted to do a video just to help explain the contest a little bit more. It can be a little bit confusing, so I wanted to make it real clear in case you're wondering if you want to get in on the action. We have a lot of fun. It's very interactive and very simple for you. All you have to do is figure out what you want to request it, and then you vote. There are several tiers, and basically that's 1 or 2 characters, colored or not colored. And once you get into those tiers, then you make your request through a message to me, and I will do the sketch and I'll post the sketch. It's done anonymously, so it's fun seeing what everyone else is requesting, but you don't have to have your name tied to it, which is the anonymity part of it. Whenever we get into the towards the end of the month, we've gotten all the sketches in. There's usually about 10 to 15 sketches in each category, and then you and all your other fellow patrons will vote on the sketches that you like the most. And the top 3 sketches will get finished. And the month after the contest is when I finish all the sketches, and I will be posting them and the progress on them on the Patreon. So if you are still subscribed to my Patreon the next month, the lowest basic tier is what you would subscribe to continue seeing work being put out, and also you would see the work that's being done on the comic that I'm working on that month. All right, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the drawing I'm doing. You can see here on the shirt, I used a brush that looks like a comb, sort of combed it across, and then combed some areas with a highlighted area. That's to show the fabric really stretching, all the individual strands of fabric. And now I'm moving on to the legs. So recently I'm trying to give this a little more dimension by making the large areas of the mass, like the flesh, the large areas get a little more gradation and a softer brush. And then on the smaller areas of mass, like where the knees are, that brush is a little more defined, a little less soft. And so you show like a sharper crease. And so there's not quite as gradual as a curvature in those areas. And I've just been trying to really build up my brush sets lately, try to incorporate lots of different brushes, lots of different brush sizes. You'll see that little box pop up constantly and that's from me trying to change the size and try to change up the brush set. So we've got a very fleshy flesh where we use mostly like an airbrush color or an airbrush brush to color the flesh, and then I'm using harsh, more textural brushes on the fabric of the shirt. She's got some smooth and shiny skin going on, and lots happening as far as the contour, giving it a lot of pop and a lot of dimension. There's a lot of flesh there, so it's fun to give it that nice curvy form. You can also see the hair. I use the same brush for everybody's hair. I try to create some texture in that hair a little bit more than what a usual like manga comic will show. Usually in the manga comics, their hair is more like wet and kind of stylized, but for my personal taste, my style, I always try to show a little more texture, and it's a lot easier if you just use that brush. Creating the shadow down on the footrest below, and kind of creating the light source as the light is already shown to be shining towards her, kind of reflecting off that stomach, and definitely the highlights are showing, and on that shirt and on the hair, trying to create the same light source for all of it. And yeah, so I don't know if I've mentioned this, but this is a single character colored sketch. And up here in the corner, I pulled up the poll from the actual Patreon page. This was the poll that this one was a part of. And you can see that I've got all the sketches, and those are all the sketches you can choose from when you're voting. And the ones with the most votes go on to get finished, you know, with an inking and professional coloring job. That's what you're seeing me do right now, is finish one of the winners. And the others are good colored sketches, but they're just not like professionally done. And this has like multiple hours put into it. It's gallery quality is what I call it. And if you want to see this, you know, up closer and more personal, get a little more detail, you can go over to my DeviantArt gallery. Almost like 99% of my stuff on Patreon ends up in my DeviantArt gallery. So if you want to head over there, you can get a good glimpse of everything we're doing on Patreon. It just usually comes out later. I try to keep everything public. I'll talk about the very last finishing details I'm adding onto this coloring. This is some red on top of a multiply layer. If I haven't already, I'm going to show this with just the multiply layer, and you'll be able to see that there is a very faint red that I'm putting on. Yeah, there it is. And this little multiply layer really adds that extra, I don't know, zing, that extra rouge to the skin that really kind of makes it dynamic and gives it that extra pop. Really adds to the coloring without having to put much onto it. But when you can change the colors from the just normal flesh, like flat flesh, to add a little bit red, you'll be amazed at how much difference it makes. There we go. There's the multiply layer by itself to show it's really not that much, but the difference is pretty amazing. Okay, and here we go. This is finished. Here is phase 1, where she's sitting there, and then phase 2, where she is stuck sitting there. This has been okay. Subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. I'll see you next time.